Yesterday, Kendrick Lamar announced one of his guest performances for the Super Bowl, and it is SZA. Let's take a listen.
A lot of emotion, getting that win up. You know, this field a lot bigger than what people think, so that's a must. Exactly. Now, I've been thinking about a guest performance.
A genius with a genius, Luther, 30 for 30. Like, would you and Kendrick together consider doing a joint album? Like, we would love to see.
I would love that.
So SZA is stepping into the spotlight for the 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, but it's not just her incredible voice that has everybody talking. No, the real news is that she's backing Kendrick Lamar, and let's just say Kendrick's got a track record for throwing major shade at Drake right now. And rumors are strolling that Drake might have been harassing SZA back when they dated. The Super Bowl performance might just blow the lid off some deep drama. So yesterday Kendrick Lamar announced one of his guest performances for the Super Bowl, and it is Let's take a listen. So here's the deal. SZA is confirmed as a guest performer at the 2025 Super Bowl, and she'll be sharing the stage with Mr. Kendrick Lamar. Now, as you probably know, Kendrick and Drake have had a long history of bad blood. Their beef has been served to us over the years through diss tracks that shook the industry, and to top it all off, one of those tracks at Kendrick making some serious allegations claim Drake might be a, you guessed it, PDF file, keeping the body emotion getting way up. You know, this field a lot bigger than what people think, so that's a must. Exactly. Now, I've been thinking about the guest perform, but here's where it gets even spicier, because word on the street is that Kendrick might perform one of those diss tracks during a halftime show, and you know which one we want to hear in front of the whole white world though. And guess who's standing right beside him backing him up? That's right, Miss SZA. You know, the internet's already losing it of a mind over all this, but let's rewind a little bit. Did you know that SZA and Drake actually dated back in the day? Because their relationship didn't exactly have a fairy tale ending. Allegedly, one of the reasons for their split was Drake's creepy behavior towards her. Some rumors even claim he harassed her during their time together, and if that's not enough to make things awkward, SZA's decision to perform with Kendrick Lamar, who's been super vocal about calling Drake out, is only adding more fuel to the fire. People are already speculating that this could be SZA's subtle way of exposing Drake for what he allegedly did to her, and honestly it's all feeling way too calculated just to be a coincidence. A genius with a genius, Luther, 30 for 30. Like, would you and Kendrick together consider doing a joint album? Like, we would love to see. I would love that. But in a new Rolling Stone cover story, SZA opened up about her short-lived fling with Drake back in 2009, and let me tell you, the details she spilled are making everybody's side out their history a little bit harder. She described their situationship as childish, saying, "We were really young, it wasn't hot and heavy or anything, it was like youth vibes, it was so childish." Now, if we're digging into the timeline, though, Drake first brought up their past in his 2020 collab, Mr. Right Now, with 21 Savage, where he rapped, "Yes, say she want to F to some scissor, wait, cause I used to date scissor back in no wait." Well, since a later clarified on social media that it was actually in 2009, adding, "I just didn't want anybody thinking anything underage or creepy was happening, completely innocent, lifetimes ago. So it was this boy that I had, just like a boy that I liked, and I'd been seeing, and we had like been kind of talking, and like I wasn't giving him any play because I liked my boyfriend." But wait, y'all, doesn't that sound like she was hinting at something? Very much something. Like, why did she feel the need to clarify? Because Drake's innocent rhyme about dating SZA back in 2008 had her scrambling to make sure people didn't think he crossed any lines. It was given major damage control vibes, and honestly, this might have been a breadcrumb leading us to the bigger picture of Drake's questionable history with young women. A big deal, because it was something that I knew about already. Like, I obviously know that we talked to each other when I was a lot younger, and when he was a lot younger, and well, Drake has been called out multiple times for behavior that people have labeled creepy. For example, remember that infamous concert moment where he had brought a 17-year-old girl on stage? He started complimenting her, saying things like, "I can't go to jail yet, man," and even kissed her on the cheek. The audience was uncomfortable for her, and clips of that moment still circulate as proof of his sketchy antics. See why going have me get carried away again. I get trouble. How old are you? Oh, don't, __. Got, I can't go to jail yet, man. But that's not all, y'all, because there's also Millie Bobby Brown. Back when she was just 14, she admitted that she and Drake were texting each other and talking about how much they miss each other. Well, why is a grown man texting a teenage girl like that? A great friend and a great role model. You know, we just text each other the other day, and he was like, "I miss you so much." I was like, "I miss you more." About boys, he helps me. What? Yeah, he's Great, he's wonderful, I love him. Advice with boys that stays in the text messages. Well, these incidents have made the internet question Drake's pattern of behavior, with Kendrick already labeling him as someone who likes them young in this tracks. They starting to feel like these accusations aren't just baseless rumors, because SZA has passed with him into the mix, and it's no wonder people are connecting the dots, thinking she might have been one of his two. Was backstage and I heard like Drake in 20, and then I was like, what? And then when I saw it, I was like, this is insane. But when the Drake and Kendrick Lamar fuse started heating up, SZA probably thought she'd be able to stay out of it, but no, somehow she ended up catching strays in the middle of their drama. Drake, who was supposedly her person at one point, decided to name job her in a leaked diss track aimed at Kendrick and his team, and honestly it felt unnecessary. In the track Push-Ups, Drake rapped, "Pipsqueak piped down, you ain't in no big three. Scissor got you wiped down. Travis got you wiped down. Savage got you wiped down like your labor boy. You in the scope right now." So not only did Drake drag Kendrick, or try to, but he also pulled SZA's name into the mess by implying that she deserves a spot in the big three more than Kendrick. While it might sound like a compliment to SZA, it also put her right in the middle of their beef, something that she didn't even ask for. But SZA wasn't about to let Dr's diss ruin her vibe. Though soon after the track leaked, she took to Instagram stories to share a hilarious reaction. She posted the infamous clip of Nene Leakes from the Real Housewives of Atlanta during the reunion, saying, "Now why am I in this? You see how I get thrown into it? I ain't even did nothing, and you could have did it." Epilogue. Well, fans couldn't stop laughing at her response. And honestly, it was a perfect way to address the situation without escalating it further. But let's be real a second for a millisecond. Why was she even mentioned in the first place? Drake calling her out felt unnecessary, especially considering their past. If anything, it looked like he was using her name to the pot even more. But it's no surprise that SZA was annoyed about being dragged into the feud. I mean, Drake was supposed to be her guy at one point, so why would he throw her name into the mix, especially at a diss aimed at Kendrick? There was no reason for her to be mentioned, and it seemed like Drake was just trying to make her pick sides, or worse, use her as his pawn to jab at Kendrick. But fast forward to now, with all the events from 2024 fresh in people's minds, it's starting to feel like SZA was always leaning towards Kendrick's side. From her performances with him to her subtle jabs at Drake and interviews, the signs have always been there. Looking back, it seems like her frustration with Drake wasn't just about being mentioned in his diss track. Now let's talk about the vibes between SZA and Drake. Even though they've collaborated in the past, fans can't help but feel that there's some underlying tension there, and SZA's recent reaction during a spicy interview has everyone's side eyeing their history even harder. Okay, is Drake a good kisser? That's why I said, __. You and I like you. Hey you, I knew you were going to do something that was so. During the interview on Hot Ones, SZA was asked about Drake's kissing skills. Yes, they really tried it, but instead of giving a straight answer, she chose to eat that very spicy wing instead. Now you know that's the universal sign for "I ain't going to talk about that right now." But she played it off, laughing and saying it was because they were so young at the time. But the way she dodged the question, her buzzing, was she hinting that something went down, maybe something that she's not ready to talk about yet. Is he good kiss her? Wow, y'all mayonnaise, I don't want to, it hurts. You're real. We were children. That was a sound of blind. But of course there's been plenty of speculation that during SZA's short-lived relationship with Drake she might have experienced her while they were together. Now, let's be real, Drake's history with women doesn't exactly scream stability. He's had flings with some huge names in the industry, yet none of them ever seemed to stick. Take Rihanna for example. Their on and off situationship was the talk of the 2010s, and at one point Drake even confessed during an awards ceremony that he'd been in love with her for years. But let's not forget, rumors also circulated that Drake might have crossed some boundaries with her, possibly in a way similar to Breezy. Allegedly, this is what caused the rift between the two, and while Rihanna has stayed tight-lipped about it, the tension between them over the years is hard to ignore. She's someone I've been in love with since I was 22 years old. And then there's Serena Williams. Oh, let's not forget Georgia Smith. From music muses to high-profile icons, Drake has been painted as the nice guy who swoops in, but doesn't stick around. The pat